lose those weight, look great for the photos, and then as fast as you go down, typically is as fast as you go back up. But the net outcome is rarely gaining to the point that they were. It's usually gaining a little bit further. And there's so much to this, so I'll apply kind of some of the principles as we go through. Better done consistently is better than best done inconsistently.
Hi, Alex. Welcome to the show today. Just to give me a bit of context, explain, what do I need to know about you to understand what you do now?
Brilliant. Lovely question. Might take a while. So I'm Alex. I go by the DNA Fat Loss Coach, and I've been doing this for coming up to 6 years now. So basically my journey started, we could go back really far. I have an Italian mother, so I've always been into food. Family gatherings are always based around food, so that was a huge part of my life. Avid gamer, so I spent as much of my life as possible behind a computer screen, not wanting to go outside. And then when my parents shouted at me enough to actually go outside, do some exercise, efficiency was a key part of it. So I wanted to get the most done in the least amount of time, such that I could go back to playing video games. A few years on from that, so when I graduated, I've got a master's degree in engineering. It wasn't right for me. I spent more time learning and understanding the human body, health, fitness, well-being, nutrition during those 4 years than I did engineering. So, I scraped through. But graduated and decided to apply my kind of problem-solving analytical mind towards health and well-being company, but in e-commerce. So it's kind of a mix of data and the kind of health and well-being kind of passion I had. All sounded great on paper. Got involved, started seeing the data. I believed I was helping people, should we say. That's a big thing for me. So throughout my time at university, and before that, I was doing some sports coaching and other sort of helping people, and that was super, super rewarding for me. But so I was kind of analytics management, performance marketing management sort of thing as my role there. And I would see in the data, so we were selling rapid weight loss shakes, pills, powders, all sorts of quick fix solutions, should we say, is probably the easiest way to summarize it. And I was seeing the data that roughly 80% of our purchases came from repeat buyers. So we'd sell these weight loss shake packs. We're talking 600 to 800 calories a day. And as for context, average human might need, say, 2,000, 2,500. Those are the typical guidelines for men and women: 2,500 for men, 2,000 for women. So 600 to 800 calorie diets, and that was 200 calorie shakes, bars, or kind of add water meals. So pour out the powder, add hot water, stir it around, 200 calories. And the idea was that you'd lose absolute crap ton of weight in a number of weeks, right? So it's, I'm getting married in 6 months. I'll do something soon. I'm getting married in 4 months. I need to fit into this dress. I'm getting married in 2 months. Shit, what am I doing? I just saw this advert for insert company, and they can help me lose this much weight, drop 3 dress sizes in 4 weeks, whatever. Brilliant, I'll do that. Lose those weight, look great for the photos, and then the repeat purchasing was happening when as fast as you go down, typically is as fast as you go back up. Right? Okay. I've seen that time and time again. People who lose weight very, very quickly gain the weight very, very quickly again. But the net outcome is rarely gaining to the point that they were. It's usually gaining a little bit further. So let's say this point plus 10% or 5%.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very common because in some part, and we can talk about this a bit later on, you've effectively, I don't want to say damage your metabolism, but you have lowered your metabolism throughout the process of crash dieting, should we say. And therefore, it makes it very, very easy to gain a lot of weight very quickly and sit at a higher weight rather than a lower weight. So this didn't sit very well with me because I thought, Susan was buying a pack of these shakes to lose weight for a wedding. Brilliant, we're helping her. This is amazing. I'm doing a great thing. Me and my team, we're spending tens of thousands of pounds on adverts, supporting people around the world to be able to achieve these goals. And then Susan was repurchasing from us in 3 months' time. That's strange. Susan's lost a lot of weight. I don't have the names right. I'm just
No,
making these
but
names up for context. You can understand all this is obviously confidential, but
Yeah.
that's strange. Wow, Susan must really have had a lot to lose if she's losing this much and then losing it again. But then 3 months later, Susan will come back again and buy another set. Somebody's not adding up. Oh my God, she's losing, gaining, losing, gaining, losing. And so her life was just, her life and the lives of every single person we were selling to, basically, was this sawtooth graph, but shifted slightly upwards. So over time, even though they'd lose weight, initially they'd gain that and a little bit back.
And a
So
little bit
then they
more.
lost weight again, gain a little bit, and it just got up and up and up. And so basically, I took on myself, I'm now taking things quite personally, the team and me. I think I was in charge of the team, so I felt that responsibility on myself, and I was like, this is not good. That kind of wormed its way around my head for a few months, and then eventually I left, and as you can imagine, that moral radar compass of mine kind of shifted me into other directions. And then when I left, I thought, you know what, I want to follow my passion. I'm young enough to give this a go. I was like 25 at the time. Let's see what I can do here. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, fine. So I thought I can coach people through this health and weight loss thing. But I'll take all of the principles that the company that I was working for and the marketing and the way in which we did things applied. So it was one-to-many, totally unsustainable. No one can sustain 600 calories a day. It's just totally short-term. Just like totally unrealistic, unendurable. All these things, right? I could go on a list of many, many more. And just do exactly the opposite. So my coaching business started on these fundamental principles of highly personalized, one-to-one, sustainable, lifestyle habit driven. Because when they're on these shakes, they're not learning anything. As soon as they come off them, they go back to their default behaviors. Right, and that is
you do see
ultimately
people
why most people
yo-yo diet, don't they? Sorry. And I think everyone listening will know someone who seems to suddenly lose a load of weight, then they gain it, and their weight fluctuates so often. And this is obviously this sort of thing of that yo-yo diet. Yeah, exactly like you say, it's not sustainable. Nothing really has been learnt during that process. So, what are the mistakes people make? Why isn't that sustainable?
So one of the things I like to ask during my coaching process is, let's say session one with a client, I'll have reviewed all their data. They just rock up to the call, right? And I come with all the kind of preparation. I've done all the work in the background. And we go, right, here's what I think we should do based on all the data. And I'll explain why. So I'll go through all the science, go through all the, all the understanding. And we go, okay, understand. You go, right, the way in which we can implement this, I'll give you like 3 or 4 options. Here's what they are. Which do you feel are the most sustainable options for you? Which do you see yourself doing in 6 months' time, a year's time, 2 years' time, 10 years' time, right? Because a good action regarding your health and well-being should be something you do either daily or at least weekly for basically the rest of your life, right? So whether that's more consistently walking, whether that's going to bed 20 minutes earlier, whether that's having a 5-minute wind-down routine, excuse me, whether that's eating an extra fist-sized portion of vegetables with your dinner every day, whether that's eating an extra palm-sized portion of protein with your breakfast, for example, in the morning. Whatever these things are, they're very, very simple. They're small actions, but we should consider them not for today. Oh, if I'm really motivated today and this week because I've got a coach or a PT shouting at me, I'm going to be able to do them. But in 3 months' time, when the program has ended, what happens then? Oh, no one's shouting at me. I'm not accountable to anyone. I'll just go back to eating whatever I was doing. I'll go back to my old habits, right? So basically the flaw that people make, the mistake people make is we don't consider that kind of long-term element to it. And we're so driven by, we are magpies, right? We go after the shiny thing. We go after the quick fix. It's ingrained in the way our brain works. We often just have to make enough bloody mistakes to the point where we go, actually, no, this doesn't work. And for some people, that takes them 10 years. For some people, that takes them 50 years. A big part of design marketing is I'm not trying to push someone or tell them when they're ready, right? I'm here. I will put out I'll put out my content, I'll put out my videos, share client results, whatever. When you're ready, you let me know.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's so internal. If someone comes to me and like, well, all my family is shouting at me because I should do this thing, but I really can't be asked. Can you help me, Alex? I'll be like, no, I can't help you. No. Come back to me in a year's time when it's actually important to you, then I'll help you. I feel like in the early days I tried to do this, right? Because you think you know better, and obviously you don't. I tried to be the person who was like, well, 80% of people in the UK, probably more, need to improve their health. So I'll just persuade everyone that everyone needs to improve their health. And I'm like daily plugging away 5, 6, 7, 8 hours just trying to persuade people that they need to change. And obviously no one fucking changes.
No.
So, and the ironic thing is, as a health coach, that's like the worst possible thing for my health. Is like I would get so burnt out trying to spend all my energy persuading people of something that they know they should do, but internally they haven't made that decision. And so eventually I came to a point where, actually, you know what, I'm just going to be me, put out my stuff. When people are ready, they'll come to me. They know I'm here. I'll reach out to them, send them messages, but they need to step forward. They have to take the biggest step. I'm not here to persuade someone. Like, in the coaching industry, I'm sure you've spoken to many coaches, we have sales calls, right? We get on sales calls with people, call them whatever you want, discovery call, catch-up call, sales call.
It's all the same principle,
it's all a bloody sales
to guide someone into buying something. Yeah.
Exactly. And in the past, I thought, this person's got on this call, I have to persuade them that my thing is the exact thing to help them and get them to, get their wallet out and give me their card details and take their money. And then I've worked with I have had many coaches in the past few years, and one particular has been extremely good. And one of the principles he's taught me is this concept of going for no. So it's like, the best thing I can do in sales calls is try and get people not to buy from me.
Yeah.
Because I will easily turn away those who aren't right. Yeah. But actually, no, I'm not ready. I need another 6 months. My head's not in the right place. I'm just thinking about work at the minute, whatever it is. Great. I probably couldn't help them anyway. I'd get them terrible results. Both of us would feel like we're not achieving what we set out to achieve. Both of us will end up unhappy. It's just a terrible coaching relationship. If I try and persuade someone not to buy from me, and then they buy from me, those people are going to fly. Right? They're going to do amazingly. And we're going to have a great time because they are right. They're like, no, Alex, this is the right time. I'm telling you, just tell me how much it costs and I'm paying for it. That's the kind of, it's not perfectly like that, but
it is getting people to want to make that commitment, because I think exactly like you're saying with regard to, health, fitness, weight loss, anything, all of us, I would have said 90-something% of people do understand the basics of we should eat a little bit better and we should do a bit more exercise. It's not like this information isn't out there. What it is that mindset of, I guess, the discomfort of not doing this is then greater than the discomfort of doing it, because, we all know, eating healthy is great, but sometimes you do just want, chocolate and pizza. And equally, going to the gym, yes, it is great, but there are times when you'd rather just sit at home. And it's getting into that mindset of, actually, no, this is, I guess, for the long-term benefit. It's doing something now that's going to give you the gain in the future, because almost the opposite to what you were doing previously, nothing is a quick win. It's not a quick fix. You need to understand that actually health and your diet and all of that, it will implement changes over time. And in the exact same way that actually, if I eat one chocolate bar today, that's not going to mean that I'm going to put loads of weight on. But if I do it consistently, it will. But equally, if I eat really healthy today, that's not going to have a massive change unless I keep that up for, a period of time, I guess.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I want to kind of unpick from that. So, firstly, for anyone who follows my LinkedIn content where I share all my pictures and videos and content, I'm a huge foodie. I share, I mean, every other post is like a picture of what I've recently eaten. So, here's
Yeah.
me at a family gathering eating this cake, and here's me eating this big pile of stuff that no one can eat, whatever, right? We spend a bit of time out of Spain. We go there and travel around, and I eat my way through holidays, sort of thing, in a experiential way, not a binge eating
Yeah.
sort of manner. Right? So, firstly, I think there's absolutely say room for that. It's healthier in the grander context. Like if I tell myself not to eat chocolate, the little child in my brain, which we all have, says, "Eat that fucking chocolate."
Yeah.
Like a kid doesn't wear it; it goes, "Eat that chocolate.
Yeah.
Stop being a prat and go." So the thing I should do is just to have a bit of chocolate and not put it on this whatever the opposite of a pedestal is. Like, oh my god, that thing is so like, oh, I can't go near that. It's so dangerous. It's so bad for me. Oh no, I must avoid it. Stop that. Like chocolate daily, if not multiple times a day, right? I'm not having huge amounts. I'm having a bit, and it's easy, enjoyable, and it promotes a kind of healthy relationship with food. If I start to restrict that thing, then I want it more and more. So I can go, say, 4 days without it, but on the fifth day, I'm going to eat 10 days worth of chocolate because I've not eaten it. Whereas if I eat one small bit of chocolate each day, I enjoy it, it's fine. I'm just getting on with life, right? I'm not on a diet. I'm not doing anything crazy particular. I'm just living my life. And then I negate this, 10 days worth of chocolate in one day. So the net outcome is actually less chocolate, even though I'm eating chocolate every day.
Yeah, I get the principle of it is just that. I mean, I guess we talk about balanced diet. So is balanced diet a good bit of terminology to use?
Interesting question. It depends on how we define balanced, because so a huge part of my principle, which we haven't really covered, is individuality, right? What is best for John is not necessarily best for Tom, right? So balance for Tom is going to look different to balance for John. So we've all seen the food pyramid. Basically, and this is very, very simplistic advice, but basically take that and turn it upside down.
Yeah.
Is actually better advice because it's just a load of bollocks. It's so outdated and terrible. It's just that is not. That's part of the reason that we have obesity problems and things in the countries that we are in developed countries. So yes, balanced is down to the individual. I think any sort of nutritional guideline is basically off. Let's take protein as an example. So the RDA, the recommended daily allowance of protein, is something like 45 grams for a average man of, 75 kilos, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm about 72 kilos, by the way, just for context. 45 grams of protein per day is what is needed to avoid protein deficiency. Now, if you have protein deficiency, you are struggling with low energy, even your hormones can be imbalanced, you're not building muscle, you're breaking down muscle, or right on the verge of breaking down muscle, depending on your activity. Your energy levels are like, that is absolute worst case. Absolute, like, no one should be living like that in a developed country if we can avoid it. So 45 grams of protein is like, do not even strive to just get a bit better than that. Strive for literally double or triple that. So for context, I'm 72 kilos, which is roughly 150, 155 pounds. A good, more appropriate guidance for protein is 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. So just to provide a bit of context, say 155 pounds of body weight, 1 gram per pound means 155 grams per day of protein. Now, 155 grams versus the recommended daily allowance of 45 grams. What? How is this? Like, that's how far off this is. This numbers are crazy. This number's a load of dog shit, right?
Yeah.
That's the truth of it. Now, obviously, if you're currently eating around this much, which a lot of people are, you don't need to go all the way to this amount. it's not a binary bad good. It's very much a sliding scale of this is absolutely terrible. You're just getting by. Would be amazing and optimal. If you're going to sit here, this is going to feel much better for you. You're going to recover better. You're going to have more energy. Your blood sugar is going to be more stable. Your mood and your focus is going to be more. All sorts of benefits, right? You're going to more easily preserve muscle mass, burn fat, build muscle mass, even all these sorts of things. So a key, slight side note, a key thing with the kinds of people I work with, they're very like high achievers. They want to do everything. They want to do their absolute best. They often see it as good, bad, yes, no, binary. I'm either doing this or I'm doing this. And the reality is it's a scale. Yeah. And any point along this line is going to be better, provided it's further this way than it is this way. The other element to it is we have, let's call it the theoretical optimal. So let's say 155 grams is theoretically optimal for me. In an ideal world where I can control all of the variables, I'd eat 155 grams of protein a day. That'd be enough for me. That's everything I need. Brilliant. Gives me enough flexibility in terms of my other carbs and fats and all those sorts of things. The reality is, maybe let's not take me. Let's take super busy John, who's a CEO of 4 companies and has 10 minutes for lunch, 5 minutes for dinner, and doesn't even have time for breakfast. For him, he's currently eating 50 grams of protein. His theoretical optimal might be 200 grams because he's 200 pounds body weight.
Yeah.
50 to 200, it's impossible, especially within his bounds and what he can do in a day. But he probably sees it as, if I can't hit that 200, what's the point? So the benefit is what is, let's call it realistic optimal. So theoretical optimal might be 200, but that theory does not apply to him because his life is totally different to 99% of other people in the world, right?
Yeah.
So the realistic optimal might be actually 100, 110, 120, maybe.
Yeah.
And that actually might vary day to day. Now, we don't need to calculate that day to day, but we need to be realistic about what we have going on in our life, what availability we have to certain foods. If we're vegan vegetarian, it's going to be harder to get a higher amount of protein in. Are we preparing meals for the family? Maybe you're a parent and you have, for medical reasons or whatever, maybe someone is celiac and vegan or plant-based or something, so you've got to prepare stuff for them, and maybe you don't want to be cooking 3 different meals every dinner time because who wants to do that? So the realistic is just do the best you can, provided it's a bit better than what you're currently doing, you're going to feel better, you're going to function better. So at every point along this line, from where you currently are to what is your theoretical optimal, you will see, feel, and experience improvement. So it's just a case of get as far along the line as you can without, because there is a negative side to this. If John starts eating 200 grams of protein a day, suddenly he's not eating with his family. He's missing meetings. He's not making important business decisions because he's prioritizing food over the important work stuff. Maybe he's not even sleeping well because he's stuffing his face late at night to get his protein in, which then fucks with his sleep. And then he wakes up the next day, he's tired, he's angry, he snaps at one of his employees. He snaps at his CFO kicks off at him. Suddenly they're all having a brawl. We have to consider the wider human implications of food. So very along with the way of me saying balanced is it's not very useful advice. Right.
Okay.
It's like telling someone to eat less and move more. It's just not very useful. We've all heard it, but how many people has it helped? Right. We could say 30 million have heard it, and it's probably helped, 1,000 people or something. That to me is absolute shit advice. That's just waste of time. Having a conversation with someone and understanding where they're at, and then offering a suggestion that may work within their context and their lifestyle and their boundaries, their restrictions, their child, family stuff. That is useful. And so it's really hard for me to give blanket advice because what helps one person probably won't help another.
Yeah,
Does that make
all
sense?
depending on the it completely makes sense, and I can see that with in the context of your daily family life. I mean, I often joke, we see those sort of ideal morning routines, and that's fine if you just live by yourself and it's only you. But I'm getting up, I've got 2 kids, and I've got to get them to school, and sometimes one of them has, lost their shoes, and all hell breaks loose, and so in fact, you just have to work with what you've got. But I guess going back to protein, I guess one of the issues lots of people have is trying to, like you say, get enough protein because of the busy lifestyle and the food that they're producing. We spoke about, those sort of shakes and things like that earlier in a different context. Protein shakes, are they a good option to be able to up your protein intake without that, extra, right, I've got to cook some more chicken, I've got to cook this or things like that? Is it a great sort of substitute to help boost out if actually your lunchtime is quite often a meal deal from a local shop?
Brilliant question. Yeah, and there's so much to this, so I'll apply kind of some of the principles as we go through. Better done consistently is better than best done inconsistently, right?
Yeah,
So,
okay.
in theory, eating, I know, chicken, broccoli with some avocado on the side, a little drizzle of olive oil, Celtic sea salt with, steamed vegetables, all that sort of shit. Perfect. That's best for, again, not for everyone, but for some people. But who can do that consistently? I mean, unless you literally live your life that way. Even I don't do that. I want to make it very clear. I'm a health coach. I'm probably in my prime health. I'm 30. Okay, I'm pretty young, but like I run a business. I'm traveling full time at the minute. I'm in the process of buying and selling a house. Like there's not tons on. Don't have kids, but a reasonable amount on. And I don't eat the perfect meal for every single meal. I don't even eat perfect meal like once a day. It's probably once a week, if such thing even exists, which I don't think it does. So there's that. Protein shakes. Are they good? It depends on the context. So I use protein shakes personally. So for example, when I'm at my parents', which I'm currently visiting them between kind of bouts of travel. When I'm here, I have a little bit less control over the food. Sometimes I'll go and buy, some stuff from the butchers or whatever to cook, and I'll do a bit of cooking for. But I have less control really than I do than when Meg, my wife, and I are, in a location for 4 weeks, and we can do all the shopping ourselves, right? So in times like this, I rely on protein shakes quite a lot more because, for example, lunches are usually a salady type lunch here with cheeses, maybe a little bit of ham, but there'll be a pack of ham that say got 30 grams of protein between 4 of us. Split that at 7.5 grams of protein. Normally my lunch would be about 60 grams of protein. So I could have a piece of ham, but that's like a tenth of my protein for that meal. So I've kind of got to do something else. So maybe I'll add some chickpeas with it, or I'll open a can of tuna or something. But I went to the gym before this call, came home with 15 minutes beforehand, put 2 scoops of protein powder into a shaker, added water, shook it up, got set up for the meeting, downed it in about 30 seconds. I've just had 40 grams of protein. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't need to cook any chicken. It cost me, I think it's something probably 50p a serving, so it cost me about £1.
Yeah.
Which is better price than chicken.
Yeah.
It's got some artificial sweeteners. Oh my god, I'm going to die. No, I'm not. It's just not. I get really passionate and angry about these things. It's just not a big deal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the quantities that I'm having them and the greater good, what could I have had? I could have had 3 pieces of toast. I could have come home and gone, I'm starving. I've got 10 minutes. Right. 3 pieces of toast, butter, some jam. All I've had is carbohydrates and sugar, which is carbohydrates, and some fats from the butter. I don't have any protein. It's not going to support my recovery. I'm going to probably crash an hour later. Probably would have fallen asleep halfway through this call. Just would have been an absolute mess. Or maybe afterwards I'd have gone, I just collapsed. Whereas now, clear, energy focus, keep going for at least a couple of hours until lunchtime, then I'll have whatever we have for lunch. So it kind of brings me on to like one of my bugbears is is this food good for me? People often ask me, is this food good? Should I eat this food? It's like, well, it depends. Firstly, like, how do you respond to it? We can talk about genetics and that'd be a separate part of the conversation. But if you weren't having this food, what would you eat? So if I didn't have a protein shake this morning, what would I have instead?
Yeah.
Hot cross bun, jam, butter, bowl of cereal. I probably don't have time to cook some eggs. Right. So in that case, protein shake is a million times better than all that. Yeah. Given the goals that I have and the kind of situation I'm in, so much better. In which case, yes, that food's bloody fantastic. Is it as good as eating, freshly grilled chicken breast with a bit of avocado, a bit of salad? No, it's not. Those two don't compare, but also that's just totally unrealistic. So
yeah,
we've got this theoretical kind of best, but then the reality is most of us can't eat like that 99.9% of the time. So we just got to do it the best we can. And for me, protein shakes, in this context, for most people are busier than me. Let's be honest about that. I'm not hugely busy. I'm very fortunate. I could draw lots of variables. Most people are busier than me, and therefore I think most people should be using things like protein shakes to increase their total protein intake. A couple of things I will say just to mitigate some of the myths around protein shakes. You have to have them after the gym, and if you're not working out, they make you store fat. Both these are a load of rubbish. So the gym one, there's talk of this anabolic window, which is after you've worked out, you have 20 to 30 minutes. So anabolic is pro-muscle. So the anabolic window is you must feed your body with protein in this anabolic window after you've worked out. And if you don't, you've lost all your gains. You're going to wither away and die, and
Yeah, because you do see people in the gym changing room literally shaking up straight after, because of that idea.
Yes, and if it's because of that idea, then they sadly misinformed. That's whatever. I have done that in the past. Most of the time, that's for convenience. It's because I'm then driving to, an event, or I'm going to then see family, and it's actually easy if I mix it up. I have it ready in the car, and I'm sipping it as I'm driving.
Yeah.
Right. Because otherwise, if I get to the next thing, or I go home and I've got to get on the call, I'll forget, and then I'll get hungry. And when I'm hungry, we'll talk about hungry if you want a bit later on. If I'm hungry, I make the worst decisions. So the best thing to do is try and avoid hunger. So the anabolic window of 20 to 30 minutes is more like an anabolic barn door. It's like 3 to 4 hours.
Okay.
3 to 4 hours within your period of working out. Try and get some protein in there. Great. And then try and have a meal, or just have a meal afterwards. That's totally fine as well. Protein is, provided we have been eating somewhat meals with some protein throughout the day at whatever intervals, there is almost always protein in our system anyway. So, for example, if I have yogurt or milk, or most sort of dairy proteins have a big component of what's called casein. Casein takes between like 4 to 8 hours to absorb, depending on the quantities that you're having. So if I have that at, say, 10 a.m. and I go to the gym at 1, even if I don't eat immediately after that gym session, there's still protein swimming around from this that's being drip fed into my system. Right, it's not perfect, but all of this is really minutiae in the grand scheme of things, because what really matters and what drives like 95% of benefit is what is your total daily or average daily intake for protein. So, say my target is 150. If I can only hit 100 without protein shakes, and adding protein shakes enables me to get, say, 130, 140, then consistently, then that is 100% something that I will do. Right? Because eating 50 grams or less on a daily consistent basis, it's not just that I'm having less protein, it's what is the protein doing for me. So I'm probably going to be more hungry, I'm probably going to snack more, I'm going to have worse recovery, slow recovery. The net impact is usually I end up eating more. And if my goal is to maintain weight or lose weight, strangely adding more calories in of certain foods helps to reduce net calories. So I give this example, Christmas dinner, big family Christmas dinner a few months ago with my wife's family. Drove into Chester, like 3 courses, drinks, the whole lot. If I turn up to that meal hungry, I am eating my food, I'm eating most of Meg's food, I'm eating whatever the person Opposite means not finishing. I am that absolute like animal that is just eating all the bread and just hoovering up everyone's plates. Who then, everyone goes away after that and goes, "I see Alex tonight. What a greedy pig!" Like, I don't want that. So what I'll do is I'll drink protein shake, 20, 30 grams of protein. It's roughly say 25 to 35 grams of protein powder. Mix it with water. Drink it say 30 to 90 minutes beforehand. That, what I call, takes the edge off.
Yeah.
Takes the edge off my hunger. I turn up to the event. I'm like, well, I could eat. I'm looking forward to the food, but I'm not like ravenous. The inner animal in me is not out, like hunting out food that I can eat. Oh, the food arrives in front of me. Lovely. Oh, that was nice. Let me have a conversation. Enjoying a nice time. Brilliant. I've had a great time. So I've invested food calories before to save calories during. So the opportunity to consume literally thousands of calories that a meal out is incredibly high. At home, that's just not very high. The kind of variability is much less. But if I add, say, 200 calories of protein powder beforehand, that often saves me 500 to 800 calories at the meal.
At that time, yeah.
And therefore, your net is 300 to 600 calories, which is significant.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned about that sort of personalized advice, and then you mentioned DNA and things like that, and you work with people one-on-one. And I guess that does go back to our lifestyles are all different, our setups are all different. But you mentioned DNA, our initially is our all our bodies different in the way we react to certain foods.
Yes, nicely put. So with clients, I get them to do a DNA test. It's basically a little box arrives like this. Within that is a little vial. They spit in the vial, send it off to a lab, and a few weeks later they get results back to their phone. There's over 100 insights that you get, roughly 25 around nutrition. You get insights into caffeine response and metabolism. You get insights into inflammation, stress, sleep, exercise responses, recovery responses, all sorts of things, right? The way I describe it is hair color, eye color, facial shape. All these things are kind of mostly genetically driven, right?
Yeah.
These are genetic variants. Okay, so it's slightly simplified, but we'll have the same genes, but the genetic variant. So a gene may have three variants. Let's say A, B, and C. A means this, B means that, C means that. So in terms of eye color, hair color, if I have this variant or this variant, then I've got red hair, I've got blonde hair, whatever. A bit simplified, but that's kind of the rough idea. We can see that, we can visualize that. I see someone, they're obviously different. All humans are different because I look at them and they're different. What we don't appreciate is that we have those same genes inside that impact things internally. So one example is I have it's affectionately termed the motherfucker gene, MTHFR gene, which impacts the way your body absorbs folate. So folate is one of the B vitamins. It impacts various number of things. Not too important. But it can impact your heart health risk because of a compound called homocysteine. Now, if homocysteine levels are high, that can impact heart disease risk. Depending on your gene variant, you metabolize or not homocysteine very well. So if I have this gene variant and I'm not accounting for it, I could have higher homocysteine levels. I have that gene variant. I could have high homocysteine levels, which means I'm at greater risk of heart disease. I can be doing everything right, eating the same way as John next to me, who lives the same lifestyle as me, let's just say for conversation's sake. But if I'm not accounting for that gene variant and what that means in my body, I could have a heart attack in the event. Right, it's a bit of an extreme example. So I take a form of folate called methylfolate. So the methylated form of folate. So folate is a compound. Methyl group is a carbon attached to three hydrogens. I'm going to take us back to GCSE chemistry. CH3. Now that is basically something which can just stick on to a compound. So we just have compound. This bit kind of sticks onto it. That form, I think of it as almost like a VIP pass in the body. So when you get on a plane, the people with VIP pass always get on first. They get the best seats.
Yeah.
They are taking methylfolate, and all the other people in the queue are either folate in normal form, or the last ones who get on the plane are folic acid, which is synthetic and not as well absorbed in the body. Right. as an example. So for me, if I took folic acid, just piss it out. It's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
If I take folate, I eat enough greens. That's okay. Better. So folate comes from foliage, dominating foliage. So green leafy stuff, and also beans, legumes, lentils, that sort of thing. Obviously, they're healthy foods, right? And I know that, we all know that, but eating all those tends to be helpful. But it's quite hard for me to get enough of something if my efficiency of absorption of that thing is really low. So it's like 60%, let's say, absorption of that thing. Whereas if I just take methylfolate, it's a little tiny tablet I could take every other day or every day. That's me. I'm done. I'm sorted. It's the fast track form. So it skips the queue, gets straight absorbed, sorts everything out of my body, homocysteine levels drop. Happy days. My risk of that thing is lower. I also take higher doses of vitamin D. So the vitamin D gene is called the VDR, vitamin D receptor gene. So my efficiency of it's not so much absorbing vitamin D because we kind of make it ourselves. The efficiency of one of the parts of the process is less, right?
Okay.
So we have enzymes. Enzymes, let's say, turn this into this, right? An enzyme turns this into this. A genetic variant or gene codes for this enzyme. So it spits out this enzyme. So if that works fine, this process can happen, therefore the rest of the chain happens, all happy days. If I'm not coding for that protein properly because I have this certain genetic variant, this step doesn't happen, but happens much less.
Yeah.
So what I can do is take specific foods to increase the production of this enzyme, or I can just take more of it via a supplement or through certain lifestyle behaviours to ensure that I'm getting enough so that then the downstream risks are lowered. So it's that sort of detail that we can get into. The simple thing is, if I give John and Luke the same diet and they do the same lifestyle, they do everything the same, they're going to have different outcomes.
Yeah.
Right. So the healthy, balanced diet depends.
Yeah. I guess,
answer to a question.
Yeah. I mean, it's brilliant. And it just shows actually how different we all are. And exactly like you said, we can see that on a physical level just by looking at people, but maybe we don't necessarily understand what's going on the inside, and that's something obviously you've tapped into and you work. So just to finish off today, what would be the first step if someone's thinking, you know what, I've tried all these different diets, I've tried those fast weight loss situations, I am ready to make a change. What is someone's first step?
Message me on LinkedIn.
Simple as that. Yeah.
No, I mean, if someone is willing and ready to invest and they think that coaching is the answer, coaching is not for everyone. If you want to have a conversation, I'm always open to it. They're very non-committal conversations. It's understanding if I can help you first, if we're a good fit, do we get on? Coaching is quite personal, so we need to make sure that we kind of get on. Aside from that kind of sales piece, what one can start doing immediately is stop listening to Jane at the water cooler who's telling you, oh, I did this thing and that really worked well for me. Stop thinking that that's going to work for you, because it might, but chances are it's probably fucking not going to do.
Yeah.
Right? Start listening to what your body is telling you. Experiment on yourself. There's some pros and cons to this. It can take a really long time and you don't always get it right. I experimented on myself for 14 years. I got a limited number of things right. When I did the DNA test, that was what shocked me so much, because I was like, I was really cocky. I was like, oh, I've been working on myself for 14 years. I know what's right with my body. And then it arrived and I was like, I got it most of it wrong. So you can listen to yourself. It does work in some parts. I was young and naive and arrogant, whatever I'm calling it.
Aren't we all when we're young?
Yeah. Most of the people I speak to are 40 to 60 or so they tend to be a bit more emotionally mature than I was back then. So start listening to yourself. Start ignoring what everyone else is doing or what works for them. That's biggest waste of time and energy, and also often sets unrealistic expectations. For example, a 400-pound guy who decides to lose weight can lose, 4 pounds a week for a couple of months, which is absolutely fucking humongous amounts of weight. If he looks at how many calories that is that he's not eating, that's the amount of calories that a normal human eats per week, just totally removed. So the 2,000 calories a day. 2,000 calories a day equals 4 pounds per week of weight loss. So that would be something not eating for 2 months to lose that amount of an average person not eating for 2, which is totally stupid. So stop listening to what they're doing, especially if you're a 50-year-old menopausal woman. Weight loss is going to be a bit hard. It's going to be a little bit slower, right? Stop comparing yourself to other people. I mean, it's going to make you happier. It's going to make you healthier just because of that in of itself. And just figure out start to think about what actually helps you and look beyond the scale, because the scale is delayed, but also hugely misdirected by water weight, water retention, salt, carbohydrates, etc. So I can gain 3 kilos in 24 hours. Is that all fat? Absolutely not. Basically, none of it's fat. I can then lose that in 2 days. Is that healthy? Is that fat? Is that rapid weight loss and weight gain? No, it's water, and there's water, right? So just park that aside. Yeah. Consider how you feel. So foods that make you feel good, and not, this pizza makes me feel really good because it's ticking a childhood memory box for me. That's not feeling good. How do you feel half an hour after?
Yeah.
Ask yourself, after I've eaten, could I do a 20-minute walk and feel lovely and light? If you just eat a massive meal and you're feeling like, oh my god, that was fun, but I feel horrible now. Someone else needs to go for a 20-minute walk. Do you want to slap in the face? Right? Something's probably not right with how that meal was created and the amount of food that you ate. So consider how you feel, how your energy levels are, how your recovery is. These are hard questions to ask, but it at least helps someone start to consider the right stuff for them and start to get them on that journey, rather than, not everyone is going to work with me, and I don't expect them to.
No.
But so I want to have a bit of a wide one. So that's how I would start.
Alex, thank you so much for your insights today. That's answered some really key questions there, and I'm sure there's lots of people listening who have found some of that insightful and just, I guess, prompted those ideas of, okay, what do I actually need to do? So just once again, thank you for joining me today, and wishing you all the best for your business and the rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Balanced Ambition podcast. I genuinely hope the stories inspire you as much as they inspire me. If you found value in today's conversation, please share it with a friend. And remember, by subscribing, you won't miss an episode, and it would truly mean the world to me. Stay balanced, and I'll see you next time.